Welcome into Outkick the Show. I am your fearless leader, Clay Travis. What a weekend it was. What a pile of insanity we have to dive into today. I hope you are having a fantastic day wherever across this great country or this great land you may be. Look at the new t-shirt I got yesterday. I was out shopping. Dick's Sporting Goods. I don't know how long this thing's been out. I don't shop very much. It's a pretty fantastic t-shirt. So anyway, I bought that. And we have got so much to run through here. I cannot wait to dive into everything. But right off the top, all right? Right off the top, the amount of dissembling, dishonesty, refusal to acknowledge the real facts and data that many in the media are breaking down right now is downright disgusting and indefensible. We have, since April 21st, eliminated 90% of all coronavirus deaths in this country, all right? On April the 21st, there were 2,693 deaths from the coronavirus, according to the Worldometer site. Yesterday, there were 267 deaths from the coronavirus. That is a 90% decline, and it isn't some sort of strange statistical aberration. This is a reality that has been reflected over the past 2 months where the numbers have been going down. Now, the Corona bros among you are going to say, well, Sunday numbers are always lower. That's accurate. They've never been this low going all the way back to March the 24th, however. And they reflect a substantial collapse over the past several months where 70 or 75% of the deaths have disappeared. You would think that if the media were being honest, this would be the number one story in all of America. This is fabulous news. The death rate from the coronavirus has collapsed by 90%. Whatever your politics, whatever your preferred choice of media, this should be something that everybody can get behind and be excited about. Instead, the media has stuck to their fear porn. The Corona bros continue to pretend things are true that frankly are not true. They're focused now on Florida. Florida put out data that it's like nobody pays attention to. The data says there are less in the ICUs now from the coronavirus than were there in April. There are less on ventilators that were on ventilators in April. The average age of a coronavirus patient has dropped by 30 years. Instead of being 65 years old and in danger, according to the death charts, the rates have fallen all the way down to around 35 or 36 years old. The average age in all the big counties is upper 20s or lower 30s. Why does that matter? It's a big deal because statistically, young people have almost nothing to fear from this, which ties in with my continuing thought about the obsession of the sports media with reporting every single positive story. All right? I want you to think about this for a minute. All right? LSU and Clemson were much in the news. Do you know why LSU and Clemson's rates of asymptomatic infection are high? Because they went out and chased girls when they got back to campus. They went out to bars. They went to parties. They did what almost every red-blooded 18, 19, 20, 21-year-old man would do if he had been cooped up in his house or apartment or condo with his parents for months, and then suddenly he got right back on campus. He had the opportunity to go chase girls around, and they did. But here's the positive. Almost all of these cases, in fact, all of them, I believe, are all asymptomatic. Nobody's actually in the hospital. This is an important data point that is not getting any attention at all. College-age kids, those under the age of 24, are more likely to die of pneumonia or the flu than they are of the coronavirus. Yet I haven't ever heard a Corona bro in the sports media argue that we need to shut down college sports because of the flu or because of the coronavirus. If anything, these are the people that we need to be getting sick. The people who are young and healthy and aren't going to overwhelm hospitals. Now, if you're listening to me right now, as I know a lot of you are, and you are college aged, if you are going out to bars, and if you are chasing around girls during the summer, which, by the way, I don't blame you at all, or if you are girls chasing boys, don't go visit your grandparents or any other elderly family or friends. Just isolate yourself from them and stay around only people your own age. And if you start feeling sick, isolate yourself. Maybe even do what I did and go get a test. It's free. It doesn't take hardly any time. I got it in my car. I didn't even have to get out of it. I went and got a test last Wednesday. They called me this morning. They said, much to the chagrin of the Corona bros out there, I was negative. I don't have the coronavirus. Now, I'd be fine tapping the vein and going to get an antibody test and checking to see if I've ever had it at all, but I don't have it right now. And I'm going back down to the beach next week for all of July 4th. But this is good advice, all right? Just listen to me. If you're a college kid out there and you want to be going out with your friends, or you're in high school or whatever age you are, if you're in your young 20s and you're tired of being cooped up, don't hang out with older people. Don't go hang out with your grandma and your grandpa. Tell them right now you'll talk to them on the phone. If you're about to go away to college, maybe consider having a different kind of Thanksgiving when you come back, because you might have it and not know it and give it to somebody that could actually be able to get sick. But in the meantime, live your life. Go out and eat. Go out to bars and restaurants. Get our economy back rolling again, but hang out with only people of your own age for the rest of the summer. It's an easy solution, okay? And combat the media that are trying to sell you on the idea that this is somehow dangerous, that everything is up in arms, that there's a huge amount of danger from having college kids back on campus. Listen to me. This is a good thing. College kids are safer back on campus than they are at home. They have access to better medical treatment. They have easy access to tests. And if they test positive, they're going to be fine. Arguably, the best thing that can happen to college football teams is everybody gets exposed before the season starts, and then you don't have any guys that test positive and have to sit out once the season gets going. Again, facts matter. Share them. College-age kids are more in danger from the flu and from pneumonia in terms of death. College-age kids are going to be fine. The deaths are down 90% in this country, and most of the people testing positive now are young people in their 20s and 30s. As long as we keep this out of nursing homes, the number of deaths is going to be low, and I hate to say it, but people die in nursing homes all the time. Remember, we're talking about people who die with the coronavirus, not people who die of the coronavirus, right? Almost everybody who's dying of the coronavirus has comorbidities. And so they're dying with the coronavirus, not dying necessarily because of it. We won't know how many people died of the coronavirus until the end of the year total death numbers are out. And remember, 2.8 million people die every year, 7,500 every day, 7,200 people on average died on Sunday of something other than the coronavirus. And nobody even paid attention to it. Again, look at the data, make smart decisions. Some people say, well, what about older coaches? Look at the data. Do you have comorbidities? Are you at risk? Go look at the numbers and make decisions about what you do based on the risk that is out there for you. That's the facts. That's the truth. That's why my audience is exploding. Go subscribe, by the way. Give me 5 stars. If we like your review, it's smart, funny, it draws the attention of Danny G. You get an autographed copy of my book. All right, bunch of other things that are out there. All right. How about Mike Florio getting absolutely destroyed on Saturday? Mike Florio is emblematic of a certain fake woke loser that exists on social media right now. He wants to accuse other people of being not woke enough, and Jason Whitlock came off the top rope and ended it. Said, hey, how come if you're so woke in 15 years of having a website, you've never had a black writer? And Mike Florio came back to me and he said, well, we have a female writer. Have you ever employed a female writer? And I was like, actually, for 4 years, the editor of Outkick was a woman. So, yes, the reality is I have had a woman, but that's not answering the question, Mike Florio, why haven't you ever employed a black person to actually write at your site? And then a lot of you started going back through the archives, and it turns out that Mike Florio has an awful lot of unwoke things to say about his coworker Mike Tirico, called Michael Strahan gay, said Mike Tirico was not very smart in a way that I don't even think I can say on FCC restrictions now. And he also had all sorts of gay jokes that are pretty homophobic. The truth of the matter is this: most woke people are trying to cover up for who they really are. I've been the same person, for better or worse, for 15 years in public. You go back and talk to anybody that I went to law school with. You go back and talk to anybody that I went to college with. They will say, Clay Travis is almost the exact same person. He's thought woke losers were idiots his whole life. First thing I ever got published, I wrote a letter to the editor when I was a freshman in college at George Washington University because some loser on campus was complaining because an executive at the university had used the phrase rule of thumb, and she was saying we should never use the phrase rule of thumb again because of its history. I was 18 years old, and I wrote a letter to the editors, one of the assignments we had, to the local student newspaper. Somebody can go look it up. I'd actually love to see it. If you track it down, DM it to me or email it to me. When I was 18 years old, the first thing that ever got published under my name was making fun of someone complaining about wanting to ban the phrase rule of thumb. All right? I don't know how much, 18 years old, nobody knows who I am. GW Hatchet, you can go look it up under my name, freshman Clay Travis. I've had the exact same opinions for my entire life. Okay? You may not like me. You may hate me. You may think I'm the worst person on the face of the earth. But if you talk to my wife, she would say, Clay Travis says the exact same thing to me when he's on the air as when he's off the air. If you talk to my friends, they would say Clay Travis having a beer and watching the game, aside from oftentimes having FCC violations because of what he says, is the exact same person as he is on the radio or in any other way. Now, that's all I know how to do. I'm not an actor. You want to talk to the Lock It In crew when we do skits? I can't act. I am not a good actor. I can only be honest. I'm good at television because I'm being me. But you get me to play somebody else, I can't do it. I can't do anything other than be me. I'm 100% authentically me. People like Florio are frauds. Frankly, they are woke frauds who are afraid of what they've said in the past and are hoping that what they said in the past will never come back and be able to be attached to them again because they have said infinitely worse things about minorities and about women and about other people than I ever have, right? Everything I've ever said is public. Deal with it. It's out there. Never apologized. I put the worst things that I've said on the people say about me on the back of my book as a blurb. I own everything. Like me, don't like me. I'm not going to pretend to be something that I'm not. A lot of people out there in sports media are regularly pretending to be what they are. And look, I'm not trying to get anybody canceled. I don't believe in cancel culture. But I do believe in calling hypocrites out when they are blatant, fraudulent hypocrites. And Mike Florio at Pro Football Talk is a flagrant loser hypocrite, period. That's the truth. All right, Bubba Wallace. I don't know what happened here. I always think everybody has an immediate reaction where they say, oh, I'm going to have a huge take here. My take is pretty simple on the Bubba Wallace noose incident. They need to figure out who did it. This is me putting my lawyer hat on. If they find out that someone did it and it was intended to be a message of hate, they should be charged with a crime. They should be banned from NASCAR for life. But this should be easy to uncover. There should be, I would think, I'm not an expert on what the infield is like around NASCAR, but I would think particularly around the coronavirus, the number of people who have access to garages is low. I would think there are cameras everywhere. I would think it is insanely easy to figure out who did this, and that investigation needs to take place, and whoever's responsible needs to be held accountable for whatever reason. Now, there are a lot of stories out there where everybody wants to run ahead and get way ahead of where the story is. We saw it with Jussie Smollett. We saw it with, in the world of sports, we saw it with Michael Bennett. We don't ever know what all the facts are until they actually come out. So I don't know why anybody feels the need to feel like they know everything that happened. I've been a lawyer. I have investigated, all right? And there are lots of cases that come out, and what you thought happened didn't actually happen. So the authorities need to investigate it. They need to uncover, what do I always say what matters? The facts, the facts, the facts. Everybody always wants to rush ahead and immediately get to the consequences before we know what the facts actually are. Find out the facts. If somebody did this in a racist manner, they should be charged with a crime, probably trespassing. I'm not sure about Alabama criminal statutes, but I'm sure that making threats in a derogatory manner like this is probably a crime. All of those things need to be pursued. But we have to figure out exactly what happened. Social media always puts the cart before the horse. Let's find out what actually happened. The facts, the facts, the facts. And I don't think there are enough facts here to have any strong opinion about who's to be blamed or who's responsible or what the story is. Again, I understand that a lot of people always want to have immediate reactions, but I tend to be the guy who sits back and wants to actually look at the facts, because as a lawyer, that's what I found to be the absolutely most important that is out there. So let's see what that goes on. Let's see what those details are. We'll be talking about them as more details come out. I saw NASCAR's response so far. I think was a good one. I think the NASCAR drivers had a good response. I think the organization itself had a good response. Now they need to figure out exactly what's going on there. Let's talk a positive story. Arch Manning, 6'3", 185 pounds, rocket arm. All right? Arch Manning is out on fire right now. Threw 34 touchdowns as a freshman. Cooper Manning went on and did a radio interview talking about his son, who is a rising sophomore, the next in the Manning family prodigies. Archie's grandson, the nephew of Eli and Peyton, the son of Cooper. And he said the following teams are recruiting Arch aggressively. He's playing at Isidore Newman High School down in New Orleans, which is where Archie and Peyton and Eli and Cooper have all lived for a long time as a part of their life. Who are the schools that are recruiting him? LSU, Ole Miss, Tennessee, Duke, and Georgia were the 5 schools that Cooper Manning named that right now are at the top of the list. LSU, Ole Miss, Tennessee, Duke, and Georgia. All right? This is going to be one of the most electric recruiting battles of all time. I can't wait to see what's going to happen with with Arch Manning as he tries to become the 3rd generation SEC quarterback in his family. Or maybe he'll go elsewhere. Maybe he'll go to Duke with Coach Cutcliffe. Maybe he'll go to somewhere outside of the SEC. Who knows? A-Rod and J-Lo are looking at buying the Mets. A-Rod, if you will recall, was a thoroughly hated individual just a few years ago. Now, A-Rod is one of the most beloved figures in Major League Baseball. He's dating J-Lo. That between the two of them, they are billionaires, and they are potentially part of the group that would buy the New York Mets. This is quite a comeback for A-Rod. From disgraced, cheating baseball player that everybody hated compared to Derek Jeter. It's like he and Derek Jeter have traded places. Now Derek Jeter is reviled by many people after being loved when he was a Yankee and everybody hated A-Rod. Now A-Rod's up and people have moved against Jeter. It's pretty crazy to think about from that perspective, with A-Rod and J-Lo potentially going out and buying the Mets. Brett Favre has said one of the dumbest things I have seen a quarterback say in a very long time. Brett Favre came out and said he believes Colin Kaepernick is a hero, and he compared him to Pat Tillman. In case you've forgotten, Pat Tillman left playing football to go fight against terrorists after 9/11. He walked away from a multi-million-dollar contract to become a soldier, and he went out and fought and was killed while serving his country as opposed to playing football. Colin Kaepernick took a knee and has been rewarded amply for it, has made far more money from Nike without playing sports than he has as a sports player. Somehow Brett Favre has come out and compared the two and said that Colin Kaepernick's heroism reminds him of the heroism that Pat Tillman displayed. Pat Tillman, who was willing to stand for the national anthem and was willing to die for his flag. Colin Kaepernick, who refuses to stand for the national anthem and has said that America is an awful place. I'm sorry, Brett Favre, but you completely missed the mark here. You can have a lot of opinions about Colin Kaepernick. The idea that anyone with a functional brain would compare Colin Kaepernick to Pat Tillman is frankly an insult to Pat Tillman's memory. You, my friend Brett Favre, sound like an absolute imbecile. Deadspin has argued now, Deadspin, which nobody reads anymore, and it's a totally woke website with no leadership, no readership, no listenership. It's a dead site walking. Deadspin has argued that the Masters, i.e. the golf tournament in Augusta, should have to be renamed because the Masters is a connotation of racism. Really. The Masters, which is a degree that you get when you have mastery of a field, which is a connotation of extreme talent in what might be a difficult endeavor. This is one of the dumbest arguments I've seen this side of Brett Favre comparing Colin Kaepernick to Pat Tillman. This is absolute lunacy, but it goes to my point, which is you don't ever satisfy woke idiots. There's always something new that exists out there. It's about the masters of golf, not the master of a plantation. Master of the universe, I guess He-Man is going to have to change the name of that cartoon as well. It's about mastery of the game of golf, you nincompoops, you unmitigated imbeciles. There is no argument here whatsoever other than the fact that this is what happens when stupid people continue to make stupid arguments. They don't stop, they get dumber. The Lego Masters is not an example of people who own Legos as slaves. They are master builders, okay? This is so dumb, it makes my brain hurt. But this is what happens when you negotiate with the woke. They don't stop. They keep going. They keep going. Bassmasters is another example. You're a master of bass fishing. Chess grandmasters are not the same as Ku Klux Klan grandmasters. Mastery is something that should be aspired to by anyone who pursues a difficult concept. A lot of them rolling right through right now. The grill masters. There are so many perfect examples of this that it actually makes my head hurt. Headmasters of schools are not mastering slaves inside of their schools. MasterCard, the credit card. Does it have to be canceled as well? Are you buying slaves with your credit card? Is that what it means? No, you freaking imbeciles. Webmasters. So many different examples out there that sign out and are incredible. The master bedroom. Anybody ever hear of it? It's the largest bedroom in the house. Do we have to rename that too? It just hurts my brain to see so many people that are so freaking stupid in general. All right? This is not complicated. This is easy. Tua has announced that he has a crush on Shania Twain. He is shooting his shot. Wouldn't have seen this one. Didn't know that Tua had been a longtime Shania Twain fan. We got an article up about it on Outkick. He gets famous. He's the number 5 overall pick. And now Shania Twain is tweeting back and forth with him. And maybe Tua's got a thing for older women. Maybe he wants to be the master of his domain, and the domain could include Shania Twain. Who knows? This will be interesting to see. Tua, maybe he's got a thing for older women. She's like 50, good looking 50. J-Lo's over 50, good looking as well. Maybe he loves Canadian cougars. She definitely impressed him much. How about Davis Bertans? Davis Bertans, I guess is the way I'm supposed to say it. Says he's not playing in the NBA return. And I actually agree with him. I actually agree. I don't blame. If I were about to be a free agent in the NBA and my team had no chance of winning the title, which, let's be honest, the Washington Wizards have no chance of winning an NBA championship, there is a 0% chance that I would go play down in Disney World to finish out the regular season. Why would I get back in shape? Why would I risk my free agency for nothing? I wouldn't play. If I've got a chance to win a championship, I would feel different. But if I'm Davis Bertans, who's set to make a lot of money in the offseason with a free agent contract, no way I'm playing. In fact, if I'm on most of those 6 teams that aren't currently in the postseason, I don't think I'd go. I might go down and hang out with my teammates, but I think I'd be like, I'm not playing. There's no point in it. We're not going to win a championship. We're not going to be able to get anything done here. I think there's going to be a lot of NBA players that make this decision. Did you see Dallas Goedert get sucker punched? Dallas Goedert was up in South Dakota. We put the video up on Outkick.com if you haven't seen it already, and he got absolutely knocked out. Eagles tight end, did nothing wrong, was having a conversation. Out of nowhere, he got flattened. He got knocked out. Need to go watch that video. They have arrested the guy who did it to him, but I guess they don't play in South Dakota because he got dropped, and I'm sure Dallas Goedert would like a fair fight with the guy who actually knocked him out. It's totally ridiculous, but there is footage there. Beware of South Dakota, indeed. Finally, I want to thank all of you for supporting Outkick last week. We are rolling into millions of website visitors, millions of video views, millions of downloads. Jason Whitlock was a phenomenal ad. We had an incredible launch week. I'd encourage you to go subscribe to this podcast. If you're just hearing part of this show, you can search out Outkick. I would encourage you to go subscribe to the Outkick the Coverage show. I think we're right around number 5 overall in all sports podcasts right now. This one was also in the top 25, even though it's primarily a video version. Guys, you ain't seen nothing yet. We are going to continue to dominate. If you haven't just gone ahead and bookmarked Outkick, you need to be checking out Outkick daily. We are going to have a ton of content that you are going to love, and we're going to be rolling through with millions of people across radio, television, video, web, social. Wherever you are, we will be. We are going to be the masters of sports media for people who want to find intelligence and not crazy, zany, kooky, far left-wing sports ideas. We are the people who are the most reasonable in all of sports and the most fearless in all of sports when it comes to advocating for the arguments we believe in. I genuinely believe that Jason Whitlock and I are the 2 most fearless people in all of sports media when it comes to making arguments that aren't always popular, but will always be rooted in actual facts as opposed to feelings. All right. I love all of you. DBAP unless you need to SBAP. My name is Clay Travis. Go download the podcast. Subscribe to Outkick. Go check out Outkick.com regularly. I'll be back tomorrow morning, 6 to 9 a.m. Eastern. This has been Outkick the Show. Kisses. See y'all. Love you. Thank you, Facebook. See ya.